So, Maya, welcome to the show. It's incredible. It's amazing to have you here. How are you today?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm great. I'm doing swell. I'm feeling good for a Monday.
There you go. There you go. Especially on Mondays, right? I hate Mondays too. Just saying.
Yeah, listen. Right now I'm fun employed, so for me every day of the week is like anything can happen.
I love it. That's true. Wise words. I love it. So yeah. As I was saying here, welcome to the show. It's incredible to have you here. And jumping straight to the interview. Let's dig in here. Let's go back in time and tell me where the journey through music started.
Sure, yes. I mean, I guess it kind of started when I was in like grade three or something. I switched to an art school. I'm originally from Montreal, and there's this school in Montreal called Fine Arts Core Education, or FACE. And one of the prerequisites for this school is kind of like some sort of like artistic talent, whether you like to draw or play an instrument or whatever. And so um, at that school, I had to be in choir, I had to be in drama class, I had to be in
Okay.
art class, and there's also like an instrumental portion to it. So I had to play the classical flute for like 7 years. And it kind of all started there, I guess. I knew that I wasn't super into the flute as like an instrument that I wanted to pursue like in the real world. So my mom kind of put me in some guitar lessons, and I pretty much just learned all that I could in terms to like get a hold on how to write my own music. I
Mm.
wasn't super interested in learning other people's songs. I was more interested in learning the basic chords so that I could just start writing my own songs. And it pretty much, yeah, started there. And I think I kind of started recording, like I had a laptop at a pretty young age. So I started playing around with like, all those tools that you have like GarageBand and iMovie and stuff where you can kind of just record shitty sound like directly onto your computer. And I kind of started making like little SoundCloud
Mm-hmm.
um, recordings and doing stuff like that. And I was getting pretty good reaction. And so I was mostly just like a bedroom artist for a while, didn't really want to do anything else, like just kind of was too shy to go onto stages and stuff. But I
Mm-hmm.
met my bandmates at a karaoke bar once, like flash forward when I was like 18 or something. It was my first job ever.
Mm.
And they were the people that kind of convinced me to like get on a stage and kind of start doing it more traditionally. And that was like the first band that I was ever a part of. And I'm actually still part of that band. So,
There you go.
yeah, I think that's where it started. And then I just started kind of my solo project in the last 2 years. So,
That's awesome. That's awesome. So basically, starting from the bottom, now we're here. Hashtag Drake.
hey, and listen, I live in Toronto now. So it's real full circle. I'm a Drake gal,
Makes sense. I
just
love
like
it.
Drake.
I love it. I love it. And how was that first? How was that that first experience? Like how were you feeling when you were making that first like that first appearance? Singing in front of public. Like how was that feeling for you?
Yeah, the first show I ever played with my band was at the Concordia Open Air Pub in Montreal. And I remember I was so nervous. I think I was maybe 18 or 19 at the time. And I kept starting and stopping. And my bandmates were like, don't stop. They're like, if you make a mistake, just don't stop. Just pretend like you know what you're doing. But
Mm-hmm.
none of that information mattered to me. I was just like,
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing, and I can't believe that this is too much anxiety involved. But like after a while, you start to get used to playing live, and then it becomes kind of second nature. But yeah, definitely, I was like shitting my pants for sure. I
Mm.
was super nervous. I was more like comfortable in my bedroom and behind a screen and not having anybody see me. But in retrospect, I'm really like glad for those experiences because a lot of my friends who are pop artists now, they focus mostly on stuff that's like online and online content, and so the actual playing the show part is a bit foreign to them. But because I was been in a band for like almost a decade now, it's like the live show aspect to me is kind of where I grew up in music. So for me, the live show is so important, and so now I'm so happy to have kind of that foundation of like, okay, I'm super comfortable on a stage, I'm not like worried about that aspect too much. And it's so much fun, at the end of the day, it's actually just it's a blast
Yeah,
to
I
be
can
on stage.
understand that. Yeah, yeah. I'm also a DJ, and I remember like the first time I performed live. It was amazing. But yeah, like the first thoughts, I was like, okay, I was like repeating myself, I got this, I got this, I got this, I got this, I got this. Like it's impossible
Yeah,
not to feel nervous in it. And it's funny because like when you're making like those first performances, you're thinking like, oh, what if people don't like it, or if you do a tiny mistake, you're like, oh, everyone noticed. And later on, you start to discover that first of all, no one noticed anything. They're just liking the music, have a good time, and that's it, And if you make a mistake, as you said, I mean, if you keep it going, like nothing happened here, they're like, oh, that's cool, like there's no much, yeah, like no one actually. I mean, you start to discover that people don't quite care if you make a mistake. If you're actually performing cool and everything, they basically forget it.
It's truly all about how you recover. If it's no big deal to you, then it's no big deal to the audience. Even
Totally.
if it's something that's noticeable, if you just laugh it off, people are like, oh, whatever, everyone's human. But if you're like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing, then everyone's going to feel that secondhand embarrassment for you. So it's really just, yeah, it's learning about being comfortable on stage and kind of realizing that the stakes are nowhere near as high as your like preteen brain was making it out to be.
Absolutely, absolutely. And tell me, like from which artist you got inspired to start creating like your music? I mean, was it like any specific artist you were like, I like their music, and you like managed to create like your own, or like how was that process to create your own?
Yeah, I feel like I've probably given this answer quite a bit, but it is the truth. So I'll just say it again. But essentially, when I was like 15 or so for Christmas, I was gifted Tegan and Sarah's album, The Con, and it was the first time that I had ever in my life kind of like heard voices that sound like mine, because my voice is not really like powerful. It's more of like a baby girl voice. It's kind of like breathy, and I had never really heard. I had mostly had like Christina Aguilera CDs and things like that as a young girl. So in my brain, like if you couldn't like belt it, you couldn't really sing. And so I hadn't had too many experiences with like alternative artists until I was about 15. And so hearing like Tegan and Sarah's album, I was like, oh, these people are singing, but they're not like singing. They're like, it's soft and it's like gentle and it's more about the story and the lyrics. And so that really spoke to me, and that made me be like, oh, well, like maybe I could actually sing. Like maybe I can sing, like even though my voice is not like too crazy, it's kind of more like shy girl. It's like, okay, there's a market for that as well. And so that album definitely inspired me to start making music. And then in terms of like writing, I would say really I really just write from my own experiences. I wouldn't say there's any sort of like artist where I was like, oh, I need to be like this person. It was more just like, oh, I have a feeling and I need to express it. And I was a kind of more of a shy, reserved kid when I was younger. So I felt like I could express a lot of my emotions better through song than through communication, like traditionally communication. So yeah, I think it was mostly just like my own experiences, wanting to kind of like understand my own feelings and then putting them in song form, and then having bands like Tegan and Sarah to look to be like, oh, okay, like I can kind of formulate a song like this way. And stuff like that. Tegan and Sarah, Donovan Woods, any like singer-songwriting vibe, that was kind of my vibe back then. And then I kind of transitioned more into like pop music. And I mean, also the bands that were big at the time, like MGMT. So like I have like a lot of like kind of like synth pop and like rock references in my like background,
Yeah, okay, I like it. And tell me, like, what is your approach when you are about to create a song? Like, what usually triggers your whole mind here to start creating?
Well, oh geez, it's different depending on, because like I have a few different things that I do now, right? So I have a project that's more like a band project. I have a solo project that's mostly just me and a producer. And then I also write for other artists. So I would say the process for all three of those things is very different. Like if I'm writing for like a band, for my band, it's kind of like more of a collective, right? So we like get together, we kind of bounce off of each other. We're like, how are you feeling? What are you feeling these days? What's something that could be inspiring to write about? Or like, oh, I started working on this song that I thought would be cool for the band. Maybe we could expand on it together. For my solo project, it's really just like essentially me in my car or on the go with my phone, singing into a voice memo, being like, I'm having a feeling, or maybe this could be a cool hook, or maybe I'm in my, somebody hurt my feelings today and I'm feeling sad or something, And so for the solo project, it's a lot more like internal and kind of like lonely. Like it's all kind of just my own writing and my own feelings, and it's very singular. And then for other people, it's really about getting in the room with them and seeing what they're going through and kind of trying to put that into like word and melody format. So it's different depending on the situation, but I've learned to kind of adapt to different situations, and I think that you can really get something cool no matter what the scenario is,
Absolutely. And let's say that one day I call you and I tell you that I want to become a singer. Now, I don't sing at all. Let me just tell you that. I mean, I mostly sing on the on the shower, super classic every now and then. So I don't have like zero experience at all. But I want to start this career change and be like, you know what? I want to be a singer and write my own stuff. So what advice could you give to me?
I would say definitely start with, something that you like, sit down and write a song and like be really, really proud of that song before you start any other process. Like I would say, like, write a song that you think from the very beginning to the very end is like amazing, and then find a producer that inspires you, who you think you will get along with in terms of like, I feel like you can really hear sonically through producers' work, like if you think that your references are the same, depending on like the type of music that you like. So find a producer whose style that you're in love with. I mean, save up a bit of money, be ready to spend probably like $1,500 to like get it recorded and mixed and mastered, unfortunately. Unless you want to do it yourself. You could always learn your own production skills if you wanted. But yeah, I would say focus on the song, focus on the music first, because that's really where everything else is going to come from. Like, don't worry too much about like photo shoots and blah blah blah. Like, of course that stuff does play a big part in it later, but like at the end of the day, what we're doing here is making music, and if the music is not strong, then you don't have too much. So I would say, focus on the music, write a song that you're in love with, and if you're in love with the song, other people will see that, and they will come along with you on the journey.
I like it. I once tried, I even bought like FL Studio, on I was like, I'm gonna produce something. And of course I didn't, because I mean, I don't have like any like experience at all. And I did took like some courses here and there. And that's where I discovered how difficult, annoying, and amazing at the same time it is to create. I mean, even like this, like the most simple beat, like once you create it and it's yours, you feel like, you're like, your mind starts spinning and you're like, I see myself already winning a Grammy, probably two, best album of the year. I got it. I mean, you like see yourself going here, so it's awesome. But I discovered that when I like discovered that, I was like, okay, like this is a whole other beast here. That maybe some people might think that, that it's just you just create a song like in a couple of minutes, which for some people it's true. I mean, you might get lucky and like create a song in a few minutes, but I mean, that's like super hard. And from some of the artists, from some of the musicians that I've interviewed, they all tell me the same, that it takes time, and
absolutely.
And like one of the things here is that like perhaps you are creating something one day, but then the next day you listen to it, you're like, I don't like it, and you re-edit it, and I mean, like you will have like this constant spinning over and over and over and over and over. So I find that amazing, the fact that you get the chance to little by little kind of create like basically like your baby, like once it's out there, you're like, okay, let's see what happens. So
totally. I mean, first of all, what you said about like creating one song and then being like, I can see myself winning a Grammy, to be honest, that's the attitude you need, because there's a lot of negativity in this industry, and so you need to have in your core like a positive outlook and believe that you can succeed, because if you don't believe it, no one else will. So that's the right mindset. And then second of all, like for me, like I've learned that I wear so many hats as the boss of this project that like when I sat down to try to like learn how to produce a song, I was like, you know what? This is one skill that like maybe I don't have to have, and that's fine. Like you have to kind of learn like what your strengths are and what it is that you actually want to put time into learning, because production is a whole, it's literally like learning how to play an instrument from scratch, but multiple instruments, because you can literally build them within the program, right? So it's like, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of effort, and to build your own like sonic universe and figure out what your identity is as a producer is a whole other thing. And so you got to really love it, and you got to like, you can also, it's also fun to work with other, like as a songwriter, I find it interesting to incorporate producers into my project as opposed to necessarily like recording myself, because you have that other person there to bounce off of, and they will potentially bring a different element to your project or elevate it. And it's really, it's a whole beast of it in itself, and it's a very cool skill to have, but not one that I at this moment am like achieving to like do on my own. I'm very happy to have my producer that I love to work with and not have to worry about any of that stuff.
I love it. Now let's say that one day for your birthday, you get a time machine, right? But here's the catch: you can only use it once, and you can only travel back when you were 13. So, what advice would you give to that little version of yourself?
Ooh. The advice that I would give to 13-year-old Maya is, firstly, don't worry. One day your skin will be clear. You won't have acne. So tell the dermatologist to give you Accutane ASAP, because I asked for it when I was 13 and they said no. And then I did it when I was like in my 20s, and it cleared my skin in like a week. So first of all, you're not going to have acne your whole life. Second of all, like, yeah, just don't worry about what other people think about you, or like just do your own thing, because at the end of the day, I think what people like about my songs and what has made me successful in the music world is literally just singing from my perspective and bringing my own version of whatever songwriting is to the table. So I think, you know, nobody else is going to see the world the way that you do, and nobody else is going to be able to say the exact same things that you're thinking, and that's what's going to make your project special and you special. And so yeah, just don't worry too much about it, little girl. You're gonna be good. That's what I would say.
Okay. Now, what about if you had to describe? So this is a tricky one. If you had to describe your whole songs, like all of the songs that you have created, right? But you need to put them together for one song only. What would be the title of it?
Like a new title?
Yeah, from all of the songs you created, he's basically saying since day one until like the most recent one. So basically you will have to take pieces of it to create a new one. But what would be the name of that song?
Ooh. Well, you know, I feel like, so with my solo project, I've only written a handful of songs so far, and that is creating like kind of like my baby my album, which I'm working on, which is gonna hopefully come out in January of 2023. And that baby is called Congratulations. So maybe that's kind of what I would say, because the congratulations, it's called Congratulations because I'm like kind of congratulating myself on the fact that I managed to put together an album all alone. Like, good job for you. And then also like Congratulations is named after one of the songs on the album, and it's a very sassy song, and it's kind of like a sassy congratulations, right? And I thought that it was a good name for the record as a whole, because it's kind of like a clin d'oeil, like a little, like it's being a little bit sarcastic, but then it also is actually a genuine congratulations to myself for, first of all, the album's kind of about like a shitty relationship that I was in, an abusive relationship, and so it's like congratulations to you for getting out, and also congratulations to you for everything you've accomplished so far in the last 2 years. Like, I've been only doing this project for 2 years, and I feel like so much has happened. Like, we played South by Southwest, like I won a prize with Canada's Walk of Fame, and there's just so many things that have happened in the last little bit. We've been played on the radio like a bunch, and so yeah, I think maybe Congratulations is a good answer, even though maybe it's a cop-out because it is the name of my album, but it's the first thing that's coming to my head, so that's what I'm gonna go with.
Okay, I love it. That's super awesome. Wow. Now, what about describing your whole music career but on a drink?
In a drink? Okay, so have you seen Drink Masters on Netflix?
No, I haven't. No, I haven't. No.
Well, Drink Masters on Netflix is like a reality show where like people who make cocktails, like, but these are like really extra cocktails. Like, they get judged, and essentially there's like all sorts of little challenges that they have to do. And because of it, my friend and I went to this place in Toronto called Bar Chef, because one of the judges from Drink Masters is he owns that bar, and we wanted to get like really like fancy cocktails. So they're like $40 cocktails, and they like smoke, and like it's like comes on like a platter, and there's like little eggs, and it's like really it's a delicacy, and it was extra as hell. We only got one each because they were so expensive. But I feel like I'm not a huge drinker, but when I do drink, I drink mostly a gin and ginger ale, which is not a very classic drink, but my gin and ginger ale would have like the smoke from like the Drink Masters drinks. You know, I want it to be like a smoky gin and ginger.
And like, oh, I love it. But like, how would you call it? Let's say that if I go to a bar and I want to I mean, this is gonna sound horrible, but I want to taste your career. Like, how will I call it?
I want to call it ginger spice, like after Ginger from the Spice Girls, because first of all, I'm potentially copying her hairstyle. I'm gonna get like the blonde hair here, the blonde bangs and the red like rest of my hair. So I'm
Okay.
copying her hairstyle, and then also gin and ginger ale. You know, it's like a little reference to my girl Ginger Spice.
Okay. And like my last question is like, what motivates you? You know, we all have those days that basically we just want to quit. You know, that we think that it's been a waste of time. Anyway, so my question here is like, how you manage to get out of those toxic thoughts? Yeah, like pushes you, like pushes you back on this journey that you have been creating for so many years now.
I think, it's a good question because it's like everybody has those days, but I think
Oh.
what really makes me feel like it's all worth it is when I go back and like listen to the album, for example, that I created that isn't out yet. And I just remember what it took, like writing those songs and like listening back. I'm so proud of them, even no matter how long it's been. Like I think we recorded them in October 2020. And so it can be a really long, arduous process creating an album, and you can kind of forget like the magic of like, oh, the songs are actually kind of what this is all about, because you can be like, okay, what we have to go through distribution, like when is the right month to release, we need to take pictures, we need to do music videos, blah blah blah. It's a lot of money out of your pocket to pay for these things, and so it can be really easy to be like, get down on it and be like, oh, I don't have enough money to do this, or like this is too expensive, or like when is this going to happen, or is this even going to do anything for my career? But then if you love it and you love writing music, or if you love doing whatever it is that you do, I feel like you just have to go back to the basics and focus on that. And if I wasn't writing music, I know that I would just be upset all the time, because that's literally how I like communicate. So for me, it's a therapy, and I think that's kind of how you have to view it. You have to see it as like something that you genuinely love doing, and not something that is a means to an end. And yeah, whenever I listen back to the album, I'm just nothing but proud of myself. So I feel like that's what helps me be like, you know what, the rest of the world has to hear it too. You can't just let it sit on your computer. You did this for a reason, so put it out there. And also, not to mention, I mean, this album, a lot of the songs have, a few of the singles have come out already, and I've gotten such a good reaction, and especially from women who have been in abusive relationships, I would say I've gotten a lot of women being like, thank you so much, or like literally I broke up with my boyfriend because I heard your song, or like I'm jumping on my bed and getting over this breakup that I'm like, I'm heartbroken, but I'm happy listening to this song, so like stuff like that really helps me too, like hearing other people's reactions to the music and that it's really making a difference.
I'm speechless. I love it. That's amazing. And the fact that you are sending like a positive message here, like a message, yeah, like hope, or basically like stretching a hand, to those who are like feeling like that, or who are like going through a hard moment that you already been there. That's pretty cool. The fact that some people can relate to your music, but at the same time, you're helping them to overcome it and to basically show them that it's okay, things will happen and life goes on and move forward. So I find pretty cool the like your whole music here, that you want to send that message, regarding either, on this case, which was like a toxic relation, but who knows, maybe later on you will make more and more songs related to specific topics that someone can relate. And I think that's like the whole beauty, right, about music, the fact that you can relate to someone's lyrics or things like that. So that's pretty cool. So
absolutely. And especially for me, like for women, because like when I was getting my Spotify Wrapped and stuff, it's like it's all girls that I listen to too. Like those are the women that I look up to. So if I can be that girl for other girls, like that means a lot to me. So
I love it. What can I say, Maya? I love what you do. Keep inspiring, keep creating. I'm super sure that our next conversation is going to be where I can put this next Grammy on the wall, because it's full of them. Because, I mean, besides that you're super talented, you also do what makes you happy. And you're showing, as I said before, you are showing something positive here. You're sending positive vibes, like, things that actually we need right now in this world. So keep doing what you do. I mean, as I'm pretty sure, I'm probably that hundreds and hundreds of people rely on your music, and I think that's motivational enough for you to keep going and to keep sending them hope, and even perhaps not hope, but at least like a cool song to sing to, or to dance to, or things like that. That is also important too. So keep doing what you do. It's amazing. It's epic, and I love it. And yeah, I also want to thank those who watched this video. Thank you so much. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, follow, helps me a lot. Leave a comment or two. Let us know what do you think about this awesome conversation. Join the conversation as well. And follow Maya. So since the video is over, go follow her like right away. Link will be in the description below. Let's make her viral. Hashtag Team Maya because she's awesome. And again, Maya, thank you so much for making this happen. Keep killing it, keep being awesome, keep inspiring, and keep creating. And I'll see you in the next one.
Thank you so much, Dan.
All right.